Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you today?
Good.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
So, where are you located?
I'm in East Tennessee.
Okay, very good. So, how's East Tennessee today?
It's been raining a lot this past week. I think we're gonna have a few days of sunshine coming up, so that'll be nice.
Oh yeah.
But it's been good for my garden.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm in Kansas City and I know that we're kind of in a dry spell right now, so
Really? Well,
yeah.
hopefully it's moving y'all's way because it's been raining for a straight week here.
Oh wow. Yeah. That's not summer weather right there, but the plants do need it.
Yeah, my garden is, I think this is my third year doing a garden. It's thriving more than any any year that I've done so far. So it's pretty
Excellent.
cool.
Very cool. Well, hey, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today. And I would like to start everything off with what we lived through the last 3 years, which has been COVID. How did you get through it? And how has it changed the way that you do things now?
So COVID, it's funny. I'm sure COVID affected me in some sort of way. It didn't affect me personally, other than, I was a business owner. And so it was scary, at being shut down and still having to pay rent and all these other things. But luckily, I got approved for the relief and the help. And so I didn't experience, anything that, kind of devastated me, thankfully. Like I didn't lose anybody. So I'm really grateful that I wasn't on the scary end of it. And knock on wood, I haven't even experienced it. So, but I take really good care of like my mental health and my physical health. And so I try to keep my immune system up as much as possible. It doesn't mean I don't get sick every once in a while, but I try to fight off those things as much as I can just naturally.
Yeah.
So that was so that's good that I've had that on my side. I had a baby during COVID, so that
Wow.
was interesting. Um, but she was just born and she wasn't in, I had no plans to put her in any type of daycare. She was only with people that were at home. So I didn't have any scares with her. So that was really good. And then the things that changed, it's so funny. I actually closed my business in 2020. But it wasn't due to COVID. So, but I'm sure I'm on some sort of statistics. But it wasn't due to COVID. It was due because I wanted to do a career change into, I actually didn't know what I wanted to do my career change into when I closed down, but I knew that I had just gone through a lot of trauma in that time because I experienced a divorce. Not right before COVID, I lost my father unexpectedly. So there was just a lot of trauma that had led up in that past couple of years. And so I had my business, but after my divorce, everything kind of crumbled. And when my material life kind of crumbled and I lost everything, that's when I turned to meditation and self-help and self-discovery and personal development. And it led me down a different path. And I ended up closing my salon, which led me to a career change, which is where I'm at now.
So let's get into that career change. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third graders at a career day, and one of them looks up and says, "Hey, what is it that you do for a living?" How would you answer them?
And it's so funny that you say that. I love that you say it in front of third graders because I don't know that they would understand, and it's so funny. I don't know that people our age would understand or in society in general would understand, but I am a manifestation business strategist and intuitive healer. So what I do is I show people essentially what my biggest goals are is to show people that they don't have to settle for a life based on their current circumstances. They don't have to live in a life where they are, maybe they weren't set up for success, but I want to show them that that's not true. You're always set up for success, no matter where you're at, no matter what your social status is, no matter what your circumstances are, no matter what experiences you've been through, no matter what you've lost, no matter what you've been taken from. And so I show people how to step into unlock their unlimited power, their inner powers, and to be divinely guided to their life path and to the most abundant career and abundant lifestyle, whatever that looks like for them. And so maybe third graders would get that, maybe not.
Yeah, no, I think so. Yeah, and I think with what we all went through with COVID, your business probably is doing pretty good now. A lot of
Yeah.
manifest destiny for people happening.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's doing really well. It's funny. I don't work with a lot of people that, seem to be heavily impacted by COVID. But I will say when I first started my coaching career, I was focused more in the trauma industry just because that is what I was doing for myself. I was really mastering like self-healing, personal development. And so I worked with women to heal trauma. And so through natural holistic ways, which is where like my name, like Holistic Heather, kind of came up. And so that's what I was doing for a long time. And what I found was the more I discovered about myself, the more I realized like that I believe I'm a master manifester. And people might not know what that means. So manifesting is not just saying something and it's yours. It's putting out an intention and then working for it. So manifesting is just another word for creating, like a creator, right? So it's just a term. So what it means is you say you want something and then you go get it. And I've always been that person. And what healing my trauma did for me is it helped me lead to the realization that it was my life path to be a master manifestor for myself and to show others how to do it for themselves, no matter and how to create their own unique ways of doing it. Now, of course, everyone is the same at the core, right? We all have the same core emotions. We all have the same core fears. And no matter what our experiences are, usually it can be led back to our core nature to move us forward, and whatever that is. So essentially, this experience kind of led me to figuring out this stuff for myself. And then what I realized is the people that I was working with whenever I was doing trauma healing is every single one of them were aspiring entrepreneurs, or they were already entrepreneurs, and they wanted that next level. They wanted next level, but they weren't happy in their life, or just something was happening, right? Something. And for me, it was specifically trauma, right? People were attracted to me because that's what they wanted. They wanted to explore their trauma and overcome it, because that's what I talked about the most. And so that's how we did it. And so now all of my clients are building businesses or growing their businesses. So I kind of realized that I wanted to shift who I was talking to, what I was attracting. And I wanted to shift a little bit more into business and entrepreneurs and people who wanted to unlock their unlimited power so that they could create abundance and that they could create a life that they're not having to hustle for or stress for to be financially free or time free. And so, because the truth is, even though we may find a divine purpose or a purpose for ourselves, why do we all want jobs? Why do we want money to begin with? That to me is really the purpose, right? So like for me, I want money so that I can spend more time with my family, or I want to do things with my family, right? Like it's about my daughter, it's about my lover, it's about these things are the truth. And so if, I know for me, I got stuck in a lot of traumatic patterns of overworking and being like a workaholic and feeling like I had to do that to survive. And all that was doing was actually taking me away from what I really wanted to experience in life. So I love to teach women and entrepreneurs how to create the life that they want and the career that they want that work together in a way. So what capacity you're at, what priorities you have, you know what I'm saying? Like to really just be very clear on everything you want in life and make the money work with that, not the other way around, not wait for the money to have the life. What is the life, and what will the money, and how can the money improve that life or expand and evolve that life, right? So live the life and then just make the money to evolve it. I hope that makes sense.
It makes sense. Totally. Yeah. So when you were in the third grade, what did you want to be when you grew up?
So I always wanted to be a teacher to some form or capacity throughout my entire life. I remember, and it's funny, I never wanted to be like a school teacher. Like I always wanted to, anything that I was interested in, whether it was creative or if it was scientific or whatever. So like I know for a while there, I wanted to be a pharmacist. I wanted to be a singer. I probably wanted to be a singer the most when I was a third grader, but anything that I wanted to do. And even whenever I got my license as a cosmetologist and became a salon owner, everything, like when I would see the future or when I would see like the end goal that I would think, I was the professor, or I was the mentor, or I was the teacher. So when I think back throughout my life, that's exactly and that's who I am. I've always wanted to just be the mentor.
So how did these seeds happen? Tell me where you were born and raised and kind of growing up. How did these seeds become who you are now?
So I was born and raised in East Tennessee, and I feel like the seeds were planted because growing up, I was kind of forced to be extremely independent. You know, my mom had uh, a rough upbringing, and she had some abandonment issues with her mom, and she had to be extremely independent. So that pattern, that generational knowledge or experience kind of carried over into me. Now she was there, she was more present for me than her mother was for her, but she still didn't really know how to, she didn't have that like, oh, let me do it for you kind of thing. That wasn't like in her programming. It was like, go figure it out yourself. And that happened a lot growing up. So growing up, I think the seeds were the fact that I had to be so independent my entire life, and I would get really frustrated when other people would teach me things, and they would make it very complex. It wasn't very understandable. Like I remember getting trained at different jobs or in math class or just different things where there would be strategies that people were teaching that were extremely complex. And then finally, like I would figure it out, and then I would figure out this really simple way to do it. And then I would just be like, have you tried? If anybody had trouble, I'd be like, can I help them? Can I do it? And
Yeah.
and I would just be like, have you tried it this way? And they're just like, oh my God, like you made it so stupid that it's simple. Like I just did that. Like that's just what I've always, and like whenever I would learn jobs, I would always want to be the trainer. Like, so if we had a new kid or whatever, I'd be like, oh, can I train him? Can I train him how to do the sales? Can I train him how to do this? Can I train him how to track? Because all of that stuff was really hard for me to grasp. But once I got it, I could turn it into something really, really simple, or at least I believed it was super simple. And then when I explained it, it was like these like 3 or 5 step processes compared to this, I don't know, this situation that I had learned that was just not memorizable or maintainable or whatever. And so like that just kind of planted the seeds for what I do. And I still feel like what I do when I learn something, I take it, I make it my own, and I simplify it down to the simplest, most understandable. So a third grader could
Yeah.
understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So who's been kind of a hero for you in your life?
My dad, for sure. He, growing up, he was my hero, and today he's still my hero. He passed unexpectedly right before my 21st birthday, and so like he was my best friend. Like I said, my mom had her own kind of trauma and issues, and wasn't able to be a fully present mother. And so my dad was kind of up my butt. He was my best friend. He was obsessed with me. I was his only kid. Like he did everything. He spoiled me. He was like everything. He was the reason I knew I was loved. He was the reason like I had no, you know what I'm saying? Like he was my protector. He was everything. So my world really shattered when he died. However, I really attribute my success today and like the person I am today to his passing, because had he not passed, I would have never looked for more. I would have never seeked more for myself or my life, and I would have always just kind of settled for the status quo and like societal standards and like material. Like I would have never known anything more because I had my dad. I didn't really have a reason to look for more. So when I lost him, and then my marriage crumbled not long after, all I was left with was myself and my daughter. And I was anxious and depressed and stressed out, and I hated myself and like all the things. And I was like, and he was really the voice. He was that spiritual, like that divine, like nudge of like, hey, there's more for you. Hey, like I'm here. I'm on the other side, but I'm here. I'm right here. I'm right around you. I'm going to guide you. I'm going to hold your hand. Like I'm still here. And it's been the difference. It's been what's changed my life. It's been the guiding force that has helped me discover so much magic and potential for this life. And so I'm very thankful. He's still my hero.
So speaking of heroes and admiring, if you could meet anybody alive on the planet right now and spend some time with them, who would it be?
you know, I want to say, and it's just because I've done some work with this person, probably Tony Robbins. I've said for a long time I want to be the female Tony Robbins, because I like when he talks, it penetrates you. I don't know if you're familiar with him or his
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
But I worked with him personally, like in an online capacity. So like I didn't meet him in person, but like I was in classrooms with him where he would teach live. And that's where I learned a lot about business myself. And of course, his tier in it was the mental, the personal side of it. Whereas, there was other mentors that were more like, oh, let's run some ads, let's create funnels, let's do all the marketing stuff, right? But him, it's like I never missed. I didn't miss a beat. I held on to every word, and it's just it felt like a mirror to what was possible, or it's like I felt like I was looking in the mirror of what I was meant to be. And obviously, like, I'm going to be unique in my own way. I'm not going to ever be exactly Tony Robbins, but it's just that energy that he provides, and the level of just being able to use storytelling and his words to help you think differently and to help you make connections to what you're capable of. That, I believe I have that gift. And when I hear him and when I see him, and it's just like looking at like the future or something. And so if I could be in proximity with somebody, like physically, it would be him, just because I feel like being around those type of people who have that gift are only going to enhance your own gift in doing that. And that's with anything, right? So it's like, if you want to do something, or if you have a gift, you get in proximity with the best in the world, and it's only going to enhance your own gifts. It's going to, you know what I'm saying? Because you go to the gym because you want to lose weight, and you're around all these fit people, you're motivated, right? Like you want to get there. So you're going to practice, you're going to learn, you're going to figure it out, and you're going to model the best. You're going to watch how they're exercising and all that stuff.
Yeah. So obviously Tony's highly motivated and highly driven. What about you? What is the fuel for you? What is it that motivates you every day to do your work?
I think the fact that I survived the darkest moments of my life. And then, of course, my daughter. So it's like it's one part for myself, and it's one part, I want to create a legacy, and I want to set up a new experience for my daughter. Like, I want to break these generational curses of trauma, and hard times and poverty within my family, so that my daughter gets to create a new legacy, and to expand on this new legacy that I am manifesting currently. And then the other part of it is like me personally, I know what it's like to go from hopeless to magic. And it's an experience that lights, like when I work with clients and I guide them through their first meditation, or I connect them to the spirit within them or whatever, like I just take them to this next level of energy or experience. And I do it through themselves, right? I just have them imagine it, and they're unlocking the ability within themselves. But afterwards, it's the response for me. It's the, what did you just do? Like, where did I just go? I didn't know I could do this. And then to watch them from that moment create a whole different situation for themselves, it's just something I can't not show up for. To know that I have this ability to help people feel safe enough to open up and to go deep into that kind of experience. I just feel like if I could do it all day, every day, and that's what I'm going to do, because I absolutely love to hear people's reactions to those experiences, to just awaken to their possibilities, and to just watch them slowly. It's like that wire connects, and then they just slowly start putting the pieces together. And that's exactly what happened to me. Whenever I connected my own wires, the pieces just came together. And so guiding others to connect their own wires and then to watch them flourish, I could cry tears of gratitude, because it's just one of those things that I can't not do anymore now that I've done it.
What's your favorite client success story?
So I have a few going on right now. What I feel my clients' successes is when they start to overcome their fears and insecurities. And that's like the biggest piece of the work that we do is, sometimes, and sometimes not, but sometimes the easiest part is to get clarity on what you want, right? Like, oh, I want to make this much money each month, or, oh, I want to do this kind of work, or this is how I want to do it. Sometimes that's the easiest part. But figuring out what scares them the most about actually starting or going in, and then helping them reparent themselves or nurture themselves through those fears, those doubts and insecurities, and then watching them be able to manifest the business or to be able to open the door. Like I had a client who had a local CBD shop. She had that store. She had rented that store for 2 years, and we started working together. And she finally overcame the perfectionism, the things that were just getting in the way, is all of her reasons for why she couldn't just start taking customers in. She got over all of that, and now she's bringing in 5K months in her locally owned business. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like she's loving it. She's so excited. She's planning events. She got offered to be on like the local college magnet for the students, and just all these really awesome opportunities. And then I had another client. She had a very similar story to me. She had lost her parents. Her marriage crumbled. She didn't have any kids, but she lost the kids that were attached to that marriage. She was all alone. She lost all of her friends attached to that marriage. And she was just kind of in agony. She was trying all the affirmations, all the positive stuff, all the mindset, the self-care, and she just wasn't finding any fulfillment. It just wasn't getting anywhere. And then we finally got to the core. We went to the roots. And, it's so funny. I saw a picture, and this hit so hard. It said that a tree cannot grow to heaven without first letting its roots grow all the way to hell.
Yeah.
And that is the work. Like when that happens, and I've yet to have a client that hasn't allowed that to happen. That's success to me. And so I'm just excited to see them, because when the client that I was just talking about, she grew, and she just faced all of that stuff that had just happened, right? She stopped trying to put a Band-Aid over it, sweep it under the rug, keep moving on like none of it happened. She embraced it. She had to sit with it. She had to experience it. She had to feel it. It's that, I talk a lot about this analogy with my clients. When you're a butterfly, or when you're a caterpillar and you're transforming into a butterfly, and you go into the cocoon, in order for you to transform into the butterfly, you have to melt. So you can imagine that's probably not very comfortable.
Right.
So the process is the success comes from, and this is where I feel like my gift is I create this space where they don't feel judged. They feel like familiar, because like I've not only been in these terrible situations, but I've also faced them in their most uncomfortable. Like I've cried, I've let it out, I've experienced it, I felt it fully, and I'm metamorphosized. I melted into I evolved. It allowed me to move forward. So and then to just watch the success that they're having. That one client that was in a very similar situation as me, she was able to manifest her own studio, and now she's opened up her LLC, and she's already taking clients. She was taking clients before she even had a name for her business. She's already making money. It's just like, and then I've got coaching clients who are doing awesome things, but it's just, the success is in the melting, the uncomfortability, and just going through that. That's, to me, like when they do that, I already know they can create anything, because that it's on the other side of that uncomfortability. It's on the other side of the things that we want to avoid, is the gold. It's the gold to whatever you want to create. It's because once you do the thing that you might not dare to do, you become limitless. It just becomes like, oh, well, I did the hardest thing. I did the hardest thing, and now I'm here.
Absolutely. So let's get to the essence of you. Everyone out there has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you're in control. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I know who I want to be. And so I think that matters a little bit more, right? Because if you know who you want to be and you know what you want to align to, then it's easier to find little things you can do each day to become that version of you. Because from what I've learned from doing trauma healing is we all have both demons and angels within us, right? Like we can, and I'm sure maybe you can relate to this, and maybe your viewers can relate to this, but like, if you're in a good mood and everything's going good and people are hyping you up, you're going to be the best version of yourself. But if someone is tearing you down, or, the opposite is true, your demon might come up to protect you, right? So who you are, you're a lot of things. Who I am, I believe I'm a lot of different things. So who I really want to be, I think is more important for me to ask. you know, and whatever, maybe that's unique or whatever. But for me, who I want to be, I ask myself, and I learned this from one of my mentors, is every day I'll say, who do I want to be today? And how do I want to make people feel? And those are the things that I kind of focus on. It doesn't mean I'm always perfect. It doesn't mean I always meet that, because, you know, like I said, I got many types of Heathers here that can show up depending on who you are.
Yeah.
Right. And what I'm going to show up for it.
Sure.
You know, that I think it helps me, like, it helps me create the content that I'm going to create. It helps me like speak to the clients the way that I want to create. And I usually always want to just be connected to my higher self. And I want to inspire people, because my biggest, you know, somebody recently asked me, like, what's my dream? Like, what's my bucket list? And like, the only thing that really matters to me is showing people that they don't have to settle for their circumstances, to show them that they are unlimited beings, and it just takes them seeing it. And so if I want to be anybody, and like who I, you know, strive to be every single day, is the version of me that mirrors that for people.
Yeah.
So maybe that answers your question.
That makes sense. So Heather, if anyone out there wants to hire you, learn more about you, anything pertaining to your world, where can they go?
So the best place to get into my world and to just be in my vicinity or my contact is my Facebook. I'm always on Facebook, and I'm very personal with the people I connect with on Facebook because I have a group, and, you know, we can message each other. So that's facebook.com/holistic healer Heather. And then I have a YouTube channel where I do educational content based on all the things that I teach and all the things that I talk about and all the things that I'm really passionate about. And so my YouTube channel is Holistic Healer Heather. And then I'm sure I can provide Joe here with all the to get my educational content and to also just be in contact with me personally.
Yeah, we'll get everybody in the right direction. Heather, this has been great. Thank you for opening up. Thanks for your story and time today. I appreciate it. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Take care.